Students, now discuss about oogenesis. What is the meaning of the oogenesis? That is formation of the female gamete. Formation of the female gamete in the ovary of female reproductive system. Student, it is formation of the gametes, female gamete, egg cell. It starts during embryonic development when million gamete mother cells are formed in fetal ovary. Student, fetal ovary, that means ovary present in the embryo, unborn human being. Okay, ovary that is present in unborn human being after the 8 weeks from conception, that is fetal ovary. Okay, student, unborn human being, that means after the conception it is a complete 8 weeks, more than 8 weeks. Student, fetal ovary that is consists, student, million gamete mother cells. From the gamete mother cells, these are female gametes or forms. Student, gamete mother cells that produces female gametes or the egg cell. Gamete mother cell present in fetal ovary. Student, and starts the division. Student, gamete mother cells, these are goes to the meiotic division. Okay, gamete mother cell starts the division, but it is stops at prophase 1 of meiosis 1. Student, gamete mother cells goes to the meiosis 1 in fetal ovary, and it is stops at prophase 1. Student, it is important. Next, student, gamete mother cells are develops into primary oocyte. These are the primary oocyte. Student, is arrested at stops at prophase 1 of meiosis 1. Student, next, formation of the ovarian follicle. Okay, each one of the fetal ovary that forms the ovarian follicles. Okay, formation of the ovarian follicle, development of the ovarian follicle, maturation of the ovarian follicle is with the sequential development. It is necessary for the formation of the oogenesis, production of the oocyte or the egg cell. Student, in formation of the ovarian follicle, firstly, primordial follicle that is forms. Primordial follicle develops into primary follicle. Primary follicle that is develops into secondary follicle. Secondary follicle that is develops into tertiary follicle or the Graafian follicle. Okay, fully matured follicle is the Graafian follicle. Tertiary follicle, that is goes to the ovulation, releasing of the ova from the ovum, from the Graafian follicle, that is called ovulation. Okay, first one, what about the primordial follicle? Student, primordial follicle, primary oocyte, you know primary oocyte. Primary oocyte surround with squamous cells. Primary oocyte surrounds with the flattened layer of the cells. These are the cells called squamous cells. Student, okay, primary oocyte, when it is surrounds with the squamous cells, it is called primordial follicle. Student, enter the oocyte in ovary, that is surrounds with the flattened cells. Now it is called primordial follicle. Okay, next membrana granulosa. What about the membrana granulosa? Student, membrana granulosa, it is the flattened layer. Okay, cuboidal. Student, flattened layer, these are also called squamous cells. Flattened layer formed by squamous cells. Squamous cells are changes into cuboidal cells. Cuboidal cells. Okay. Next, finally produce stratified epithelium. Okay, student, which surrounds the primary oocyte. Student, gamete mother cells are developed into primary oocyte. Primary oocyte present in each of the ovary surrounds with the flattened layer. Flattened layer become into cuboidal cells, and cuboidal cells produces stratified epithelium. This is a stratified epithelium surrounds the oocyte, primary oocyte, that is called membrana granulosa. Okay, student. Next, student, these are cells. These are the student. These are the cells called granulosa cells. It is the oocyte. Oocyte surrounded with the cells called granulosa cells. Entire the cells that forms the membrane granulosa. Okay. Next, primary follicle. What about the primary follicle? Primary follicle granulosa cells, student. The cells present in membrana granulosa. Okay, student. It is a stratified epithelium. Totally stratified epithelium surround the primary oocyte is called membrana granulosa. Okay. And primary follicle, primordial follicle, that is develops into primary follicle. What about the primary follicle? Granulosa cells present in membrana granulosa surrounds the primary oocyte and along with the primary oocyte. Primary oocyte and surrounding part of the granulosa cells. Okay, that is collectively called primary follicle. Okay, this primordial follicle develops into primary follicle. Okay, next under zona pellucida. What about zona pellucida? Zona pellucida, it is formed by ovum. Formed by ovum. Student, oocyte. Ovum means oocyte. Formed by ovum. Next, membrane between primary oocyte and granulosa cells. It occupies, zona pellucida occupies the space between the primary oocyte and granulosa cells. Student, firstly in this arrangement, firstly primary oocyte is there. Primary oocyte surrounded with the zona pellucida. According to this, zona pellucida is surrounds with the granulosa cells. Okay, this is about zona pellucida. Next, student, corona radiata. Okay, student, it is the primary oocyte. Primary oocyte surrounds with the zona pellucida. Zona pellucida surrounding part is called granulosa cells. These are granulosa cells. Okay, student. Next, corona radiata. What about corona radiata? Inner layer of granulosa cells attached to zona pellucida. Student, some amount of the granulosa cells are attached to the zona pellucida. Okay, zona attaches to zona pellucida. Okay, and it is the corona radiata. Okay, amount of the granulosa cells are attached to pellucida, zona pellucida. That is the region forms the corona radiata. Corona radiata is mainly formed by granulosa cells. Students, now about cumulus oophorus. Cumulus oophorus, that means cavity appears in membrana granulosa. This is the cavity, student. Cavity appears in membrana granulosa. It is totally membrana granulosa. There is a cavity appears in membrana granulosa. Okay, student. And oocyte is surrounded with the group of the clusters of the granulosa cells. That is called cumulus oophorus. Okay, oocyte that is surrounds with the cluster of granulosa cells. That forms the cumulus oophorus. Okay, and theca interna. What about theca interna? Theca interna. Now at this time, entire the part of the follicle, student, it is totally about the follicle, ovarian follicle, and is with different arrangements of the development and sequence. This is also shows the sequential development, and finally goes to the maturation, finally develops into the Graafian follicle. Student, fully developed or matured ovarian follicle, which is called Graafian follicle. It is about the structure of the Graafian follicle, shows all the parts. Okay, theca interna, theca externa, zona pellucida, zona granulosa, cumulus oophorus, and the antrum. Antrum means cavity that is totally filled with the fluid. Okay. Next, under theca interna, follicle expands at this time, and cells surrounding membrana granulosa. Student, see is the membrana granulosa, and it is surrounds with the one of the layer. It is the surrounding part. Student, membrana granulosa is surrounded with the one of the layer, that is called theca interna. It is theca interna. Theca interna, follicle is expands and cells surrounding membrana granulosa and forms the covering. That is about theca interna. Next, theca externa. It is a fibrous tissue, student. It is the theca externa. Okay. Theca externa, fibrous tissue, forms outside the theca interna. Theca interna totally covered with the fibrous tissue, that is called theca externa. Okay. Now, it is the ovarian follicle is with the cumulus oophorus and membrana granulosa, that is covered with the theca interna, and it is covered with the theca externa. Now it is called as, okay, that is secondary follicle, student. Okay, secondary follicle, okay, it is the secondary follicle is with the primary oocyte. Student, if you observe carefully, okay, this is the secondary follicle, totally called secondary follicle. Secondary follicle is with the primary oocyte. Okay, secondary follicle, primary oocyte in secondary follicle. Okay, this is the primary oocyte that is arrested before it is arrested with stops at prophase 1 of meiosis 1. At this stage, when it is develops into secondary follicle, that is the primary oocyte is completes its meiosis 1. Meiosis 1 is now completed, student. Carefully observe. And after the meiosis 1, how many cells are produces? 2 cells. These are applied in state. 2 applied cells are produces after the complete of the end of the meiosis 1 from the primary oocyte in secondary follicle. These two cells, one is largest and another one is smaller. Student, large cell is called secondary oocyte. Okay, this is the secondary oocyte which consists a large amount of the cytoplasm. It is nutrient rich substance. Next, small cell. Small cell, that is called first polar body. Okay, student, after the end of the meiosis 1, from the primary oocyte, two applied cells are produced. One is secondary oocyte and another one is first polar body. Okay, student, these are the two cells now present in the follicle, present in the ovarian follicle. Okay, that is called secondary follicle. And secondary follicle changes into some amount of the development and enter into the mature, and that one is the follicle now called tertiary follicle or Graafian follicle. Student, it is about the structure of the Graafian follicle that shows the all parts. Okay, it is the secondary oocyte. Secondary oocyte arrested in, stops in meiosis 2. Okay, meiosis 2 is stops by the secondary oocyte. Secondary oocyte surrounds with the zona pellucida. Zona pellucida surrounds with the granulosa cells and also forms the corona radiata. It is corona radiata. Okay, student, and it is a group of the granulosa cells that is called cumulus oophorus. Okay, student, entire these are granulosa cells. Next, membrana granulosa surrounds with theca interna. It is the theca interna, and theca interna covered with theca externa. Okay, student, it is about the formation of the Graafian follicle or the tertiary follicle. Okay, student, it is about the oogenesis, student.